What's up, everybody? Coach Mills here, coming at you with a brand new Valorant video, and Jesus freaking Christ, Riot freaking did it again, and they might have broke the game this time, and that might be for real, because they turned Viper from the bottom tier character to now this insanely powerful agent, and they also changed Yoru, made him incredibly strong. They also did a huge quality of life change to Killjoy that makes her just feel so much better to play, and they absolutely butchered the Bucky, plus fixed some really important sound problems that have been in the game since the OG days. So we're gonna break it all down. Please smash the like and subscribe and send feet pics, and then go to the GameLeap website in the links down below for high quality in-depth advanced guides over VIPER if you want to learn those VIPER lineups. Yoru, Killjoy, we got so many in-depth advanced guides that you don't want to miss, so make sure you go check them out in the links down below. But without further ado, let's jump into the video. Now I'm not gonna waste any time and pad my content because, you know, I've never once done that. But moving on to the actual changes, we gotta talk about freaking VIPER. Let's read the changes and what the developers say about the changes, and then we're gonna talk about the changes after the fact. Quote, in the wake of Masters, we're introducing some bigger updates to our agents with VIPER first in line. We looked at a lot of possible changes to her, but ultimately landed on changes that push what makes VIPER's play pattern unique and still resonate with her theme. When compared to other controllers, we want VIPER to make big committed decisions that truly alter the map and how both sides plan around her influence. She should claim ground with force and dare opponents to challenge her. The updates to Toxin should also project more threat on enemies who consider pushing her smoke, and will hopefully add a significant bite to her mark toxic screen. Paired with a couple of other buffs and some new tools for learning and practicing lineups, we're excited to see if VIPER can deliver on the deadly impact she promises while solidifying her spot on her roster. Now, I'm just gonna give you a little bit of spoiler before I jump into these freaking changes. They're massive, and I think they have huge ramifications for this character, and yeah, it's freaking nuts. But I want to make sure that I read them all before I talk about them individually, so let's just read through it all. There's a lot of changes here, and then we're gonna go through it step by step. So first off, Toxin, the passive. Enemies that cross through VIPER's Poison Cloud, Toxic Screen, or VIPER's Pit are instantly inflicted with at least 50 decay. You heard that right, instantly inflicted. Their decay level increases the longer they remain in contact with Toxin. Now, as a consolation, while in Cloud, decay over time is decreased from 15 to 10, and when out of VIPER's Cloud, delay before health regen decreased 2.5 to 1.5. Holy fuck! This is a crazy, crazy change. I know I said I'm not going to talk about it, but I had to give my 2 cents in. Before we move on, to Poison Cloud can now immediately be redeployed when picked up, but grants a temporary charge instead of a permanent charge. If active when VIPER dies, Poison's Cloud remains up for an additional 2 seconds, or until VIPER's fuel runs out. Pickup distance got increased from 200 to 400. Toxic Screen, if active when VIPER dies, Toxic Screen now remains up for an additional 2 seconds before deactivating. Full blind distance from the wall increased to better match the blind distance from the edge of smokes. And then lastly, Snakebite got the equip time decreased from 1.1 to 0.8. Now, before we get into the elephant in the room, which is that Toxin passive, let's just quickly talk about the changes to Toxic Screen and Poison Cloud separately. The pickup distance on Poison Cloud is a lot nicer, and the fact that these will remain up for either an additional 2 seconds or until VIPER runs out, even if VIPER dies, both the Toxic Screen and the Poison Cloud is a really nice quality of life. However, there could be some scenarios where it actually hurts your team. Now, on top of that, Poison Cloud no longer gives you a permanent charge, but a temporary one. We don't really know how long that's gonna last yet, but the fact that it can be immediately redeployed is really, really nice. I think it's gonna play a lot better for making plays on VIPER. Now, the snake time decrease from 1.1 to 0.8 is just going to be nice. You're going to be able to whip out Snakebite a lot quicker, and it's going to be good for throwing out your Snakebite on the fly. But what I really want to talk about is the Toxin passive, which in my opinion is the biggest singular buff we have ever seen on an agent ever since the start of the game. Let me paint this picture for you. You walk into a Poison Cloud, minus 50 instantly. You walk or touch a Toxic Screen, minus 50 instantly. You are basically no longer wearing armor if you ever touch any of the toxins, and on defense, think about how hard it's going to be to push a VIPER. You push a VIPER through her smoke, and you're just gonna get completely destroyed. It is freaking crazy And now her freaking ultimate is the goddamn Death Pit. I mean, this is some serious buffs, guys. And I really think that Viper is a next level Sentinel now. I've talked a lot in the past about Viper, how I really thought that they should buff the controller aspects of her to make her able to compete with Brimstone and Omen, but they actually went the complete opposite way, in my opinion. She is actually competing with a lot of Sentinels now because she doesn't necessarily do that smoke job better that I really thought she should be able to do. You know, the far away smokes, the heaven smokes, things like that are still very difficult for her to accomplish, but she is extremely difficult to fight on defense. She's still amazing at proactive taking, but the fact that this Toxin passive, just you tap it a single time and you already take 50, that is just freaking nuts, guys. I don't know if it's just me, but I think this is busted. This is absurd. And I really want to know your opinion about it in the comments down below because I think that needs to be reeled back just a little bit. But we're going to have to wait and see on that one. And for those of you who have been waiting for Viper to be good, you're going to have a fun goddamn couple of weeks. I promise you that one. Now, next up on the block is Yoru, who also got some really big buffs. Let's read what they have to say, read the changes, and then we're going to talk about it. Yoru carries a fantasy that you've been excited to see through, but we believe a few restrictions have made it harder to access. Although Yoru is a unique duelist on the roster, both in pace and in playstyle, we think he should be a strong contender for good compositions and want to ensure the value he offers to his team is more consistent throughout a match. These changes should push the needle, but we'll rapidly test some new changes to other parts of the kit, such as Fake Out, to ensure your players have the tools they need to succeed. Now, first up, we gotta talk about the Flash Blindside. Flash activation time decreased from 0.8 to 0.6, and Flash duration was increased from 1.1 to 1.5. I think this overall is a good change because his Flash was the worst in the game. Don't know if this is a slight overtune, but I'm guessing that this is fine. It's just gonna be a lot more powerful of a Flash, which I really think that Yoru needed as a freaking duelist. Gate Crash is no longer refreshed on kills and instead replenished every 35 seconds. Lifetime of the Gate Crash fragment increased 20 seconds to 30 seconds. The range at which the Gate Crash fragment is revealed from stealth decreased from 7 meters to 4 meters. Visuals for visibility range added to the movement fragment. So overall, this is a really good change for Gate Crash. I know now you don't get it off of 2 kills, but the thing is, you were rarely using it aggressively when you were trying to play Yoru like legitimately up against decent players around your rank. You were not really using it aggressively. You were using it as a get out of jail free card, not really a go in more and try to kill the entire enemy team. And it would almost never get you in. You get 2 kills and then you use it again and you go somewhere else and make another play. That just doesn't happen realistically on the agent. It makes a lot more sense to use it as an ability to fish for kills and then get out, which is what you could do. You could throw it lasts 30 seconds instead of 20 seconds now, so it lasts longer. You could lurk up, you could potentially get a kill and pop away, and then 35 seconds go by, you start another lurk, you do it again, and it's really cool. It makes a lot more sense with the character, and the fact that the range at which it's revealed is smaller now, enemies are gonna have a harder time finding it, so that's gonna be cool for certain Gate Crash rollouts that you can use. So overall, I really like this change. It makes a lot of sense on Yoru. And then last up, Dimensional Drift. The ult points got reduced from 7 to 6, and now Yoru can activate his teleport Gate Crash while in Dimensional Drift, which I think is amazing. I think that's a really good change. It makes a lot of sense. You could kind of do it before with an animation cancel of your Dimensional Drift with Gate Crash, but sometimes there was a tiny window that you could get shot. Sometimes it depended on ping and things like that. But overall, I think that this makes way more sense, and Yoru's just gonna feel like a better agent overall, and I think he's a lot more powerful. This is gonna put him a lot more in line with other agents, but unlike Viper, I don't know if these are gonna be enough to make him top tier or good or whatever, so we're gonna have to wait and see on him. Now, the last agent change we gotta talk about before we get into the weapon changes is a small change, but a very important one, and it's for Killjoy. Nano Swarm grenades can now be picked up during the buy phase, and you get that charge back. This is amazing. It just makes a lot of sense. You don't want to throw it and then not be able to pick it up. Come on, it's just obvious stuff. And I'm glad they're adding this more and more, making it more forgivable to change your mind about where you're placing these nano swarms and things like that. Really good quality of life change for Killjoy. Now we go to the next thing we got to talk about is the weapon updates. The Bucky. Quote, we want to focus the Bucky more on its actual primary firing mode, left click, and make that the strength you try to optimize while choosing a Bucky versus his alternate firing mode, right click. The right click should be more of a tool that you can use when you can't get into that effective left click range or you just need some reliable chip damage. The spreads are reduced on both to increase reliability and smoother the curve damage. The alternate fire's significant reduction in pellet count is a trade-off to be able to extend the range as much as it does for a shotgun. Primary fire left-click bullet spread decreased from 3.4 to 2.6. Decreased spread on alternate fire 3.4 to 2.0. Updated damage curve for both primary and alt fire. 0 meters to 8 meters is 20 damage per pellet. 8 meters to 12 meters is 12 damage per pellet. Beyond 12 meters is 9 damage per pellet. Reduced amount of pellets in the right-click shot from 15 to 5. Holy fuck, Bucky's dead. Right-click Bucky's dead. Jesus Christ. Okay, move on. Now, the last big change I really wanted to talk about before we end it here is about HRTF, which is head-related transfer function, which is basically about fixing the goddamn sound in Valorant. Quote, what direction did those raised footsteps come from? Is she moving from in front of you or behind you? With HRTF on and a pair of headphones, you'll be able to better pinpoint other players based on certain sounds. Now, basically what this is it's a profile that contains measurements such as head size and ear shape, among other things, that allows you to more accurately figure out where certain sounds are coming from. And it's something that they're adding into the game, and it's going to be something that we're actually going to do an in-depth breakdown on this channel of, so you can set it up and that you know exactly how to make sure that you don't get freaking snuck up on and knifed in the back, because that's the worst feeling in the world. So make sure you smash that like and subscribe, because I don't want to make this video too long, and it's going to take a long time to break it all down, break down step-by-step instructions and all that stuff. So if you want to know more, make sure you do that. And of course, we always leave the full patch notes, including the quality of life changes and the big bug changes, down below. So make sure you check those out. And then go to the GameLeap website in the links down below for high-quality, in-depth advanced guides. If you want to master any of the agents we talked about, plus much more, we got in-depth advanced guides made by a top 100 Radiant player, map guides, weapon courses. We got everything that you possibly need on the GameLeap website to climb to Immortal and beyond. So go check it out in the links down below. But thank you so much for coming by. I really hope you enjoyed the video. I love your freaking faces. Please send feed pics, and I'll see you tomorrow.